Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another important live video update tonight. So obviously the big news of today is all about the announcement of the new peace deal in Gaza. Now, President Donald Trump has announced that Hamas will be releasing Israeli hostages probably on Monday as part of the start of a 20-point peace deal. Now, there's many reports obviously doing the rounds today, but just in case you've missed this story for one reason or another, this one does give a quick overview of what's going on. If you want to look that one up, it says breaking: Trump announces huge breakthrough. Donald Trump has announced Israel and Hamas have signed off on the first phase of a Gaza peace plan in a major breakthrough following days of talks in Egypt. I'm very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off in the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps towards a strong, durable and everlasting peace, he wrote on Truth Social. All parties will be treated fairly, he continued. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel and all surrounding nations, and the United States of America, and we thank the mediators from Qatar, Egypt and Turkey who worked with us to make this historic and unprecedented event happen. Blessed are the peacemakers. And here I was thinking it was the cheesemakers. That's what Monty Python told us. Anyway, there you go. Following the announcement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed his nation would bring home all the hostages held in Gaza. With God's help, we will bring them all home, his office said in a brief statement. In a separate statement on X, Mr. Netanyahu declared it was a great day for Israel. He announced he will convene the government tomorrow to approve the agreement and bring all our dear hostages home. He thanked the Israel Defense Forces as well as Mr. Trump and his team for their mobilization for this sacred mission of releasing our hostages. So it's hostages, 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 hostages all the way through. We'll come back to that in a moment. Donald Trump says he believes all the hostages would all be coming back on Monday, adding that Washington will play a role in helping rebuild war-torn Gaza as well as keeping it safe and peaceful. Hamas also confirmed it has reached an agreement providing for an end to the war in Gaza with withdrawal of the occupation and entry of humanitarian aid and exchange of prisoners. So they don't use the word hostages for whatever reason. Now, whilst on the face of this does look, of course, like another great victory for Donald Trump, there are already suggestions that Hamas may actually be unable to fulfill those very hostage agreements. And what that could mean to the whole peace deal is anyone's guess. But these are the early reports that are already coming out. And it says, nightmare report reveals peace deal snag. You know, the ink's barely dry on the signatures and already there's a snag. Israeli insiders claim that Hamas may be unable to locate or return all of the remaining deceased hostages in Gaza, according to those Israeli sources, a reality that could complicate ceasefire negotiations. A report from CNN claimed that Hamas may not know the whereabouts of some of the 28 confirmed dead. The estimates are based on Israeli intelligence and communications from Hamas and mediators. Israel believes 20 hostages remain alive, with serious concerns for 2 in particular. In the latest talks in Sharm el-Sheikh, Israel demanded the return of all hostages, living and dead, as a condition to end the war. So what will happen if that condition is not met? But sources say Netanyahu and his cabinet have known for months that Hamas cannot account for some of the deceased. So is this really going to be peace in Gaza, peace in the Middle East? Who knows? As always, we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But of course, if things do go to plan, then this will definitely be a very positive outcome for everyone. Now, the other news of today and this week on the more local front here in Victoria shows how completely out of touch the Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen and her Labor government really are. Now, this morning there was reports of the new guide for magistrates and judges regarding these supposedly new, tougher bail laws that Allen has been prattling on about for months now. But when you actually sit down and read that guide, it still falls insanely short of societal expectations and is ultimately going to do nothing to curb the completely out of control youth crime situation that we have here in this state. So here is one of the media articles discussing this. It is entitled, Victorian Magistrates Still Encouraged to Release Underage Offenders on Bail Where Possible Despite Crime Crackdown. An official guide for judges and magistrates in Victoria is still encouraging them to release underage offenders on bail where possible, despite a tranche of bail reforms introduced to combat youth crime. Supposedly. The bail bench book is used by authorities to determine how to apply the state's bail laws. It was updated last week when tougher bail laws came into force, including a strike rule which targets youth offenders. But the book is still instructing judges and magistrates to grant bail for accused youth offenders. A child should be released on bail wherever possible, the guide states. The guide appears to be in direct conflict with the bail reforms which aim to put community safety first in Victoria. Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen told reporters today the bail reforms have already resulted in a surge in people in custody. What, 4? Come on. She defended the bail guide and claimed the book did have community safety in mind. Yeah, had it in mind, sure, but no basis in reality. We are seeing the tough new bail laws are making a difference. There has been an increase in both the number of adult and young people on remand, Allen said. It is my expectation, in line with the guidance that's been released, that decision makers respect the fact that we have placed community safety at the highest priority in all bail making decisions. Really? Let's see how that plays out over the next week or so, shall we? Opposition leader Brett Batten said the bail guidelines suggested it was business as usual in the court system. Victoria is in the grips of a youth crime crisis, with underage car thieves in particular contributing to the worst numbers the state has seen in 20 years. Youth offenders are overrepresented in serious and violent crime, including robberies and aggravated burglaries, police said last month. And almost 50% of all aggravated burglaries were perpetrated by children. So this is how crazy the situation is. Now, what makes all of this even worse, and what I find truly laughable, is that when it became crystal clear that no one was buying into Allen's BS because the statistics simply didn't back up the rubbish that she was saying, she pulled out the usual, Rule 101 from the government playbook and tried to simply distract everybody with news of the government's other monumental failure. Of course, that's the horrendous waste of time and money on the state's Metro Tunnel project. Now, not only did she completely ignore how insanely over time and over budget that whole project was, she instead tried to distract people with, get this, 3 months of free travel on trains, buses and trams. Now, only on weekends though, so pretty much of no real use to anybody. But, whoop-de-bloody-do. It's called public transport. It's for the public. It should be free anyway. Okay? We were all forced to pay for it, and now we're being forced to travel on it as well. It's crazy. But it gets worse, because to really, just tug on the heartstrings of anyone that might have actually still been listening to her crap, she then went ahead and urged all of the toll operators on the private toll roads to initiate some sort of similar free travel period on the toll roads. The very same ones that they were supposed to stop charging for years and years ago when those roads were already paid for. But of course, the government did all of those, under the table deals with all the operators who make insane profits, by the way. And then, of course, the government get their kickbacks and then their taxes on those profits to top it all off. I mean, if Allen was truly, genuinely concerned about Victorians, she would just simply repeal all of those ridiculous toll-related legislation and just stop charging for all toll roads in this state. And who knows, people might actually want to live and work here. Just a crazy thought. Anyway, here's some of the rubbish that she was spouting in the media today. There's the title of the article there. Victoria Premier Jacinta Allen calls on toll road operators to waive fees for summer. Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen has called on toll road operators to offer free travel over summer throughout the state in a letter posted to social media. Allen yesterday announced that public transport would be free in Victoria on weekends from early December to February 1st. That will include train, bus and tram services. The announcement was made in conjunction with the nearing opening of Melbourne's new Metro Tunnel. It's our way of celebrating the opening of the Metro Tunnel and saying thanks to everyone for their patience while 7,000 Victorian workers built this massive project, she said. In the spirit of our free public transport bonanza over summer, I'm asking you to join us. Victoria would be thrilled if you offered some savings for them over the summer period on CityLink, Eastlink and the new Westgate Tunnel when it opens. It's a little way you can say thanks to every Victorian who has put up with short-term disruption, yeah right, and changes to their travel in exchange for better roads and faster journeys in the future. As always, time will tell. Allen posted the letter on X with the caption, "Your move, guys." Well, I tell you what, your next move, since she's so kindly offered it, should be to make sure that you add your signature to that open letter calling for Jacinta Allen to resign. Okay? It's the open letter. I spoke about it on a recent video update. There was a link in the description. We'll pop one up later on again tonight. But please add your signature to that letter and let's get this crazy woman out of control of this state. And please, just in case you're thinking, oh, but I'm just one person, my voice doesn't matter, it can't make a difference, please, once again, have a listen to how insanely huge the backlash against the digital ID has now become in the UK. Now, I talked about this on the last video and there was about 2 million signatures. And as you'll see in a moment, that's now at almost 3 million. This is huge. So this article is entitled, "Could this sink the PM? Fresh hell for Starmer as backlash to digital ID passes grim new milestone." Backlash continues to grow over Sir Keir Starmer's plans to roll out digital ID across the UK, with recent polling from More in Common saying 45% oppose the government scheme. Nearly half the population oppose this scheme. I mean, that is fantastic. Support for the scheme has dropped to less than a third, with only 31% backing the government's plans. Over 2.8 million people have now signed the petition to scrap digital IDs, with plans for the ID system to be introduced by 2029. Pollster George Buchan believes the government's lack of proper clarity about what they were rolling out led to the fierce backlash. He told GB News this probably comes down to saliency. It wasn't an issue people were thinking about earlier in the year. By announcing it and bringing it into the public gaze, the government has made it salient and people have had to take a position on it. The government states it will be mandatory for people to own a digital ID to curb illegal immigration. Or you could just stop people coming in the country. There's a wild and crazy thought. Who thought? When asked about why people are opposing the plans, Mr. Buchan said people will oppose it for many reasons. A common one with issues like this is generally where there is opposition to handing the government new powers or new controls, whatever they may be. Gee, I wonder why. 2 in 3 Britons have safety concerns surrounding the scheme, feeling they cannot trust the government to keep their data secure. Again, I wonder why. Polling from Big Brother Watch found 63% of Britons do not believe the government could keep their personal information safe. And I think there is every reason and lots of evidence to back up that belief. So again, 2.8 million people have signed that petition. 2/3 of Britons don't trust the government. I mean, maybe they're onto something. Maybe we should see similar numbers here with regards to the Australian government. Just a thought. After all, given the truths that are now starting to come out about COVID and the COVID jabs and the like, why on earth would you trust the government when they got it so wrong? Now, the problem is that rather than admitting their mistake and attempting to rebuild some kind of trust, it seems like the governments around the world are just doubling down and ramping up the fear campaigns once again, as this next article demonstrates. Now, this is in regards to the US, but I'm sure as I read through this, you'll remember some very similar phrases that I read out maybe 4 or 5 months ago. New COVID variants with unusual symptoms sweep the US amid chilling warnings that even very mild cases now risk lasting effects. A croaky voice and sharp razor blade sore throat are emerging as telltale signs of the latest COVID variants now sweeping the US. The strains XFB, dubbed Stratus, and NB 1.8.1, known as Nimbus, are fueling a surge in infections, with cases spiking specifically in the Northeast in the last several weeks. In the US, nationwide COVID wastewater levels used to measure the community spread of a virus are moderate, according to the CDC, but 4 states are recording very high levels, and levels in the Northeast region are on the rise. Dr. Aaron Glatt, an infectious disease expert from Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, told Today.com that patients were complaining of severe pain as if their throat is covered with razor blades. He added, while not specific to COVID-19, this expression has been used to describe sore throat symptoms in some patients with the most recent COVID-19 variant. Dr. Tyler Evans, an infectious diseases expert who is New York City's chief medical officer during the pandemic's first wave, told Daily Mail, COVID activity is clearly on the rise again. While we're in a much better place than in 2020, rising transmission still poses a risk to those with underlying conditions or limited access to care. Concern should lead to preparedness, but not panic. Dr. Evans added, the dominant strain in the US right now is an Omicron subvariant called Nimbus. It spreads quickly, but is not more severe than earlier forms. Then why even mention it? It can still be dangerous for older adults, people with chronic conditions, and those with weakened immune systems. Experts stress they are no more dangerous than earlier versions, but genetic mutations mean they spread more easily. However, Dr. Laura Malone, director of the Pediatric Post-COVID-19 Rehabilitation Clinic at Kennedy Krieger Institute in Baltimore, told the New York Times just because an infection is mild or you recover well doesn't mean that lasting effects can't happen, including long COVID. I mean, here we go again. Just because you got through your first infection and didn't develop long COVID, it's not that you are completely out of the woods, she said. And on and on and on it goes. And I just can't read any more of this rubbish because, seriously, it's just insane. You get a mild sniffle and you recover completely and, oh no, that's not the end of it. Something more could be coming. Something worse could be coming. I mean, this is nuts. But the thing is, none of this is anything new. We had those exact same reports right here in Australia, as we headed into winter. And now, of course, there was no onslaught of COVID cases or huge numbers of deaths reported or anything like that. Yet these stories keep doing the rounds. They keep getting rehashed in other countries just as winter approaches every year. So please, if you know anyone in the US, then please be sure just to refer them to our videos from 4 or 5 months ago where we're all being told exactly the same thing. And of course, it just ended up being the same old usual media hype with nothing actually to worry about. So the question obviously remains, why do they keep spouting this rubbish? Because, of course, they operate on the principle of problem, reaction, solution. And wouldn't you know it, they just happen to have an amazing solution ready for everyone. How convenient. So have a listen to this. New study shows, yet another one, what do you know? All-in-one coronavirus vaccines could save millions of lives in future pandemics. Again, surely one's got to question, what do they know that we don't? Okay, or what are they planning, more likely, that they don't want to tell us about just yet? A new study published in Nature Communications reveals that vaccines designed to protect against a wide range of coronaviruses could dramatically reduce deaths and economic disruption and limit the need for lockdowns in the event of another global coronavirus pandemic. Again, why would there be a global coronavirus pandemic? Why would it be some other kind of pandemic? Why are they so focused on this? The research led by Imperial College London and supported by CEPI modelled the potential impact of broadly protective sarbecovirus vaccines, innovative vaccines that could defend against multiple viruses, including a novel sarbecovirus referred to as SARS-X. Broadly protective sarbecovirus vaccines could be manufactured and stockpiled ahead of time. How convenient! And deployed as soon as a new coronavirus is detected, protecting the most vulnerable in the critical early months of a future outbreak. Again, what do they know that we don't? While a new vaccine targeting the specific pathogen is being deployed. They're telling you their playbook. They're spelling it out, and yet people go, oh, no, that can't possibly be true. The modelling shows that during a SARS-X outbreak, vaccinating high-risk populations aged 60 and older with a broadly protective sarbecovirus vaccine could reduce mortality by more than half, while also cutting the need for disruptive non-pharmaceutical interventions such as lockdowns by more than 60%. COVID-19 showed us the catastrophic costs of facing a deadly new virus without a vaccine. Isn't that kind of the point, that a new virus comes and there is no vaccine and that's why it's all so deadly? Otherwise, it wouldn't be a deadly outbreak, would it? I mean, hello. Broadly protective coronavirus vaccines could change the game. They would buy us valuable time in a future pandemic, saving lives, easing the burden on health systems and helping societies to stay open while scientists develop vaccines specifically targeting the new pathogen. Well, I mean, it just sounds so wonderful and so convenient and just, I mean, really, what a brilliant idea. I mean, you know, let's just completely ignore everything that we hopefully learnt over the past 4 or 5 years about rushing ahead with untested jabs, and let's just jab all the old people, you know, just in case, and see what happens. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Look, for me, the only thing that I got out of that story is, as I said before, the fact that they are clearly planning some kind of other pandemic. So, as always, please be sure to refer to these videos when the next inevitable thing is rolled out, okay, and just see it for the playbook and the production, okay, that it really is, and just don't buy into all the hype and all the fear. Now, finally, the last article that I want to cover is actually on a very positive note, and it's a story that just came out yesterday about people fighting back and protecting their properties from being stolen by the system. Now, this article is actually about a Queensland bailiff who was charged with assault after trying to unlawfully take someone's property. Now, it's a little bit of a longer article, but I think it will be of interest to everyone who's watching this. So this is what it says. It's entitled, Police Charge Queensland Court Bailiff with Assault as Property Title Fraud Crisis Deepens. E-conveyancing labelled a robo-debt 2.0 as banks, lawyers and automated title systems face unprecedented scrutiny. A Queensland Department of Justice bailiff, Mr Sam Brown, has been charged by Queensland Police with serious assault occasioning bodily harm and willful damage following a violent incident during an attempted home repossession at a Sunshine Coast property on August the 5th. The property owner, Mr. Mel Braxton, sent a copy of a text message to Cairns News he received from Coolum Police Station at 10:48 a.m. on Monday, October the 6th, confirming the bailiff had been charged. Hi Mel, it's Senior Constable Zumani from Coolum Station. Just in relation to your complaint, we did end up charging the male involved, Samuel Brown. Can you please call me back on, and then obviously his number. Despite the bailiff's claim that the family would be evicted by August 27th, the Braxton family remains lawfully in possession of their home today, protected by unbroken indefeasibility of title under the Torrens system. Former Senator Rod Cullerton, who anyone who's been following this for a long time will know that we've worked very closely with over the years, said this police action confirmed that the event was not a lawful civil enforcement, but a criminal assault committed under the colour of authority, exposing how financial institutions and their lawyers have drawn police into unlawful property seizures. That second charge of willful damage carries symbolic weight. It underscores how officers and agents acting as toe cutters under orders that do not bind the land are not merely breaching process, but are causing real-world damage and fraud on title, Mr. Cullerton said. The fact that Queensland Police have now acted against a court-appointed bailiff sends a clear message. Police are beginning to realise they've been misled into enforcing civil claims that have no lawful foundation. Across Australia, police are increasingly discovering they've been manipulated into civil matters driven by lawyer-drafted documents masquerading as court orders. These actions often proceed without judicial authority or registered enforcement warrants, and when police attend to keep the peace, they are in fact trespassing on land still owned by the registered proprietor. Police must understand civil enforcement is not a police function, said Cullerton. Where no lawful change in ownership exists, the owner's right to quiet enjoyment is absolute. Now, then there's a very interesting subheading, which is something that we've obviously spoken about a lot on our radio shows this year. Digital fraud behind Australia's land title system. The Braxton case has also again reignited national concerns about e-conveyancing, the fully digital property transfer system that has replaced traditional Torrens title registration with automated software processes controlled by private operators like PEXA. Rural Action Movement, RAM, highly supports the Carolyn's Amnesty Law 2025 that electronic lodgement has stripped away human oversight, allowing fraudulent transfers to slip through undetected, a scandal increasingly dubbed Robo-Debt 2.0 for property. Just as Robo-Debt automated injustice, e-conveyancing automates property theft, said a RAM spokesman. RAM alleges in most cases that banks are lodging false mortgagee in possession undetected transfers without lawful warrants, and the system lets them through. No human checks, no accountability. Registrars of titles across Australia have admitted that fraud detection powers are inadequate, with the Registrars Council recently calling for enhanced enforcement authority and an ACCC investigation into PEXA's monopoly control. Despite public assurances by New South Wales Registrar General Danusia Cameron on 18th of September that inbuilt protections prevent fraud, the Sydney Morning Herald revealed only a week later that police had uncovered a Sydney crime syndicate laundering property through fraudulent loans, proof that the so-called protections are failing. And then the next one is our land title registers the next robo-debt. Australia's shift to digital conveyancing has placed property rights at the mercy of algorithms, software vendors and bank lawyers, not registrars of titles. Without urgent oversight and reform, advocates warn our homes and farms risk becoming data entries in a privatised system where fraud is invisible and justice is automated out of existence. So, I mean, this is a very big story. It's a very important topic. Now, we've obviously spoken about a number of these concepts during our land titles webinar that we held earlier this year. Now, as I have mentioned previously, we are working on making recordings of those webinars available as separate products to the wider community, and we will keep everyone updated of our progress, and we do hope to have an announcement about that before the end of this year. Now, please, if you did miss that webinar or indeed any of our other webinars that we held this year, do keep in mind that we did recently announce a very special extra bonus, if you like, overview webinar, which we're going to be running on Sunday, the 16th of November. Now, as the name suggests, the webinar is going to be an overview of the most important and popular topics from the webinar series, specifically fines, the Constitution, and court paperwork process and procedure. We've had some people say that some of the webinars were a little bit overwhelming, a little bit too much information, so we're doing this overview webinar specifically to simplify those particular topics. So if you're a beginner, if you're a newbie, if you felt a little bit overwhelmed by some of the other webinars, or if you just really want to get your head around this information and do a review, then please secure your spot. Just go to the seminar page on our website. You'll see the webinars tab and scroll down to the last one there. You'll see the overview webinar, and do be sure to secure your seat sooner rather than later. We've already sold out over 30% of those VIP seats. They always sell out every event. They will sell out again, so please get in sooner rather than later if you want one of those spots. All right, and finally, just to finish off, I'm going to go through the latest testimonial from one of our members, as well as some more great memes to get people thinking. So this one was sent through, they asked to be anonymous. So it says, hi Mike, I recently attended a local government rates and land titles webinar. In the discussion that ensued after the webinar concluded, there was a bit of discussion about trusts and land tax. Previously, my understanding was that if you had a property in a trust and you lived in the property, there was no exemption to land tax as you would have in principal place of residence. While that is the case, you can apply for nomination of PPR beneficiary, discretionary and unit trusts if you live in that property that's in the trust and have a portion of that fee refunded. Now, I also have two testimonials. Unfortunately, though I looked, I don't have the withdrawal notices. The first one is not really any specific strategy. However, in following the KYR videos over COVID, we decided rather than just pay, to at least push back on a parking fine. We have a disabled son going for his speech therapy. He has many sensory issues, meaning once you arrive, it can take up to 20 minutes just to get him out of the car. The inspectors were watching, and we came out of therapy 5 minutes late and a fine was already issued. We wrote to the council explaining the situation. They investigated and found the inspectors did nothing wrong. Of course not. The council at least offered the opportunity for us to apply for a disabled car permit and would waive the fine if that was presented, which we did, and the fine was withdrawn. The second one was a speeding fine I received in the mail. I immediately ordered the speeding fines book, which promptly arrived a few days later, and followed the strategy and used the template as I hadn't had a speeding fine in over 30 months, and again, the fine was withdrawn. Just sharing all the above in case this is of use to you and the public. So there you have it. Once again, follow the steps in our book. Follow that tried, tested and proven 3-step process in Chapter 3 of the Aussie Speeding Fines book, and you can get those fines withdrawn just like this gentleman did. All right, so we've spoken a little bit about COVID tonight. So here we have a lovely photo or picture of avoiding all of the COVID and digital ID and COVID jab BS for a bit of a laugh. Yes, the good old normal person saying, oh, yes, they'll just give us our rights right back to us as soon as the danger has passed. And there's the face of us, the historians, knowing exactly what happens as soon as governments get any new powers. Yes, another one, and I can certainly relate to this as I watch many countries around the world try and roll out this digital ID after everyone said, oh, no, you're just a conspiracy theorist, that'll never happen. And, well, we're seeing exactly that right now. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with this one because this is so true. This is exactly what they do. So be aware of it so that you can push back against it. If you keep people exhausted and distracted, they won't organise. If you keep them struggling and divided, they won't resist. The system isn't broken. It's working as designed. But we can break that design by all fighting and pushing back against that collectively. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to make use of all the resources that are available to you to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. As always, these videos are completely free to watch. You find them on the videos tab on our Facebook page and also our BitChute and YouTube channels. Our radio shows, again, completely free to listen to every Tuesday night. Unfortunately, we were not able to run our live radio show this Tuesday due to an incident with our producer. For those of you who've sent well wishes to him, he's doing well. He's in good spirits, and we do hope to be back live on air again in 2 weeks' time. But just a reminder, next Tuesday, we're still away at the boot camp event, and we will be running a previous show. For those of you who are locked in for our boot camp event, I did just send out another important email about access on the day and timing and everything. So if you're locked in for the boot camp event on the weekend, please make sure you check your email addresses. Other than that, if you want to go above and beyond what we cover in these videos and on those radio shows, do be sure to grab a copy of our ebook, The Essential Step-by-Step Manual for Understanding and Exercising Your Rights. That AUSSIE Speeding Fines book that I mentioned just before for successfully challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. And of course, that Bank Secrets Revealed book. We know a lot of people are genuinely struggling financially, so please stop throwing good money after bad at the unsecured loans, your personal loans, credit cards. They can be easily discharged, written off just by following the tried, tested and proven 4-step process in that book. There's links in the description of the video to get those books. You can get them individually, get them as part of the combo pack. As I said, we did just have a brand new set of tote bags made up, so they come as a bonus with the books. Otherwise, you jump online, you can find them. They're a great way to go and do your shopping and spread the message around, so do grab those. As I said, boot camp on the weekend. That is the last of our in-person events. If you've missed any of those, please make sure you grab a copy of the home study course, which is, of course, a complete recording of one of our standard 2.5-day live events. There's 3 custom-made workbooks with sections to write notes next to every slide from every single presentation, 17 DVDs that you can pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home, and, of course, at your own pace to learn all of our important information. So again, you'll find a link in the description. Other than that, we look forward to seeing a handful of you at the boot camp on the weekend. Otherwise, we will be back next Thursday evening for our next live video update. Until then, take care.